Good morning and welcome to our first page from the Scholastic Amazing Word Power. We're going to be reviewing the third grade words. Yes, review is always very, very helpful. This is money matters. That means these words have everything to do with financial concerns, okay? So, the first word is the word account. What's the word? Fantastic. Like a bank account, all right, where you save or you store something. In this case, it's money, it's cash, all right, or the money that you've earned. Okay, now, a lot of you also know that an account, like you have a computer account, an account for a particular website or a particular game that you like to play, and this is where they save or store your information. This is all referring to account. Okay, so an account is something where is an item where you save or you store. In this case, we're focusing on financial concerns, okay? Money matters. However, there are a couple of other ways to use the word account. It is a homograph, and I told you this is what we were going to do. If you complain, it does nothing for you. If you work it, it does a lot for you. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Okay, now an account also can have to do with a version. Like, what's your account of the story? What's your perspective? What's your report? Or what's your description? Well, I saw this person doing this. Another person might have another account of it. Well, I saw him doing this. All right? There's one other way to use the word account. How many of you have ever said, how do you account for the fact that your room isn't cleaned? In other words, how can you give any sort of record or evidence that it wasn't cleaned when I asked you to do that? We've all been in that, all right. So myself included. All right. So how do you account for the missing diamond? How can you give a record or evidence for that? Account. But notice the word count is in the word account, and this going back to financial concerns. Account. Let's go. Count. Can't get my thumb in there. We use ow, o, oo, So let's go. Account. So how do we mark this up? Excellent. Underline the ow. We can use it in more than one way. Obviously, we can use it three ways, so please pay attention to this video. It is a homograph, and you will be demonstrating this in your visual vocabulary notebooks for all three, including sentences for it. Okay, so the next word is the word currency. What's the word? Fantastic. Currency. So, currency is very simple. It's the tool of exchange that we use in terms of finances. So it's money. If you look on our dollar bills, all the different types of cash, it says legal tender. Now that doesn't mean lawful softness or lawful youngness. Tender is also a tool of exchange in terms of finances. Great one for currency. So again, money, legal tender, cash, moolah, exchange, barter. But there's an old slang term which isn't used too often, bread. Make sure that you earn that bread, okay, which bread is a homograph as well. Currency also has to do, there is one other way to use it in terms of the flow of electricity. The currency or the current was running through the wires, okay. Currency, let's go. Currency. So again, currency. We use k, s, and we use the like in nurse. Notice that we divide the syllable by the double consonant. Currency. Okay, and again, notice we divide the double consonant. We have one thing to mark up. We underline the I see a rule over here. That's rule 2. And again, review this video because it is a homograph and you will be demonstrating both. Currency is the moolah, it's the cash, but it's also the flow of electricity. Okay, I think you did circuits last year with Miss Affleck, right? The currency was running through the wires. Currency. So the next word is a great synonym. It's a great vocabulary word for somebody who's cheap or very cautious with their money very often. Not necessarily cheap. It can be cheap. But again, someone who's very cautious with their money, they don't really like to spend it. And it is the word frugal. What's the word? Exactly, frugal. All right, so let's go. Frugal. gal. We use you. Okay, so it's thrifty, cautious, it's very prudent. Sometimes I'll say stingy or cheap. Frugal. Let's go. Frugal. Frugal. How do we mark this up? Underline the U. The U can say U at the end of a syllable. That is good old rule 4. Frugal. We all know people who are frugal. If you go back to A Christmas Carol, if we go back to A Christmas Carol, the main character, Ebenezer Scrooge, at the beginning of the story was very frugal. He was very cheap. He was very stingy, very nasty, in fact, as well. Okay, but he learned the value of generosity, among many other things. All right, so the next word is something that we all like to do, right? We all like to spend money. It feels great. We get the items that we really want. And a fantastic word for that is the word splurge. Sometimes we like to splurge on items that are important to us or that we want, like that ice cream cone or something. I don't really have too much money. I'm going to splurge. I'm going to treat myself nicely by spending some money. That's what splurge means. It means to be indulgent, to be a spendthrift, to binge in terms of money, something that's very extravagant. Oh, that coat costs $300. I think I'm going to splurge. Splurge. Let's go. J, silent E. We use the like in nurse. So again, j, silent E. We use the like in nurse. Let's go. J, silent E. Splurge. So we have 3 things to mark up. Let's go. Underline the the G, and the silent E twice. Job number 3, and yes, you got it. Rule 3. Soft G, sometimes when followed by Y, I, or E. Sometimes. You actually technically don't have to write in soft G. If you did, great, but you don't have to. All right. And I could see that some of you are already nervous about this. What's WOD? What's WOD? Don't worry about it. We'll get to it. So the next word, skip down to, number 5 is the word bank. What's the word? Excellent. Bank. Now, of course, we think about the building that holds money, which is true. But there are a couple of other ways to use the word bank. All right? So, for example, I'm going to send you some pictures, but there's a riverbank. That's where the water and the land meet, and you can see it almost looks like a mini little steep hill, or a little mini mountain. There's also a snowbank as well, in terms of when it piles up and it almost looks like a wall of snow. Sometimes you see when people snowplow, and then you see those nice, neat little walls. Snowbank, okay, and a riverbank. There's one other way to use it, and I'm going to show you. Again, another picture. Anybody who's ever seen somebody play billiards, pool, with the cue sticks and the white ball and the balls with the numbers, when they hit it off the side of the cushion, where the pockets are, where the holes are, there's a cushion that goes all along. It's a bank, but it's when they bounce it off of it, that's called like bank shot, when you bank it off of something. Great way to think about it, anybody who plays basketball, when you hit it off the backboard and it goes in, or you're trying to use the backboard to help it go in the basket, it's like a bank shot, okay? Bank. Let's go. B-A-N-K. Bank. One other way, we could use the word bank. It's actually an action word. I'm sorry, so I forgot about that. I like to bank at Chase or Wells Fargo or HCBC, Capital One Bank, right? But it's a verb. I do my banking on Saturday. Bank. B-A-N-K. Bank. That's number 5. B-A-N-K. Bank. We could use it more than one way. You got it. It is a homograph. Please make sure that you review this. You are going to show all of those examples. Now, here's the interesting thing. When you are broke, when you're impoverished, when you have no money, when you're in debt, when you're only wearing a barrel like in the old days, you are bankrupt. Okay, so bankrupt, broke, ruined, you're a pauper, you're poor, you're impoverished, it's an epic fail. You're empty, you're in debt, you're destitute, you're out of business. They call it Chapter 11 when a business has to file for bankruptcy. And if you listen to the word bankrupt, you hear the word rupt. Well, where have you heard that before? Rupt, like erupt or a rupture. Okay, that means sort of to explode. All right, so think about an eruption, a volcanic eruption, when it erupts. Okay, people sometimes in their body, their appendix might rupture, which means it basically explodes. Rupt. All right, so bankrupt. Let's go. Bankrupt. Bankrupt. So when you look up the etymology, you'll understand that. Okay, so let's go. First syllable, bank. Second syllable, rupt. Bankrupt. All right, so what do we do with these two words? Bracket or brace. And the last word is the word of the day with Professor Pigeon and his blue collar friend with the baseball cap, who's always trying to learn from the scholarly and sagacious professor. Okay, so the last word is the word facilitate. Facilitate. Okay, facilitate. If you know anything, facile or facilier, right? It means to make something easier. So here's a great example. Using training wheels to learn how to ride a bike will facilitate you being able to learn how to ride a bike. Crutches facilitate someone's ability to help them walk again when they've injured themselves. The videos that people make, even such as myself, to facilitate you learning this. A math concept, learning about history, that will facilitate. It will make things easier. Facilitate. Let's go. Facilitate. Facilitate. We use a, we use k, s. Facilitate. Let's go. Facilitate. Facilitate. All right, so we have three things to mark up. Excellent third sound. Fa, a, underline the A and the silent E twice, draw an arrow back. Why? You got it, because in this case, the silent E makes the A say A. Now, WAD is an acronym. It means word of the day. Word of the day, okay? But I also see a rule here. That is rule 2. Soft C when followed by Y, I, or E. Okay? And we are going to review these words momentarily. You will be looking up the etymology, you will be looking up you will be using the different definitions and showing your visual vocabulary with all of these words, including the homographs. Okay, so let's go. Facilitate. Facilitate. Bankrupt. Bankrupt. Bank. Going back to the word facilitate, there are people, it has nothing to do with politics. I just want to give you an example. Going back to the word facilitate, they don't speak to the president nor the former Vice President Joe Biden. They don't speak to them directly about having a debate. They go through their people to try to facilitate, their advisors to facilitate. When can we meet to debate? Okay, they don't go directly. Those two gentlemen are a little too busy right now campaigning, so they go through their advisors. All right, so it makes it easier to set up those dates, which are coming very, very shortly. All right, so let's go. Splurge, silent E, splurge. Frugal, frugal. Currency, currency. Account. And again, notice that we divide the syllable by the double consonant, and this all has to do with money matters, financial concerns, having to do with cash, money, moolah, bread,